Are you orchestrating our intro? I can't not be saying it.
We need people.
Oh, we need people.
Yes, we need people. All right.
Oh, I think we need people to watch. You mean people
We do need people to watch.
do our stuff.
Yes. Good evening, everybody.
Welcome back, y'all.
Welcome back to session number 2 of 4 on Facebook Live. I'm so glad Facebook Live is a thing because do you remember just, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, this Facebook Live was not a thing.
It's all your area. I think.
And it changed our
That's
world.
what you were talking about for a minute.
Because that was about the time. That was about the time Taste Texas ended. So we just like.
We're 4 years, a few years late.
Oh, we've dabbled with Facebook Live, but Hey y'all, we're so glad you're here tonight, and I hope you're hungry because it's time for dinner. Get your beverage and step that up.
One little note is we're starting to see comments coming in. We've gotten older since Taste Texas. And I've gotten older since Taste Texas.
Monday, actually, he got older.
I did get older on Monday. And what I can tell you is that if y'all are asking questions, you need some insight, anything else that you're posting, if Amy doesn't catch it, there's a good chance that she won't be between the wine and the food and everything else. We will be responding tonight. I want to nip that one in the bud. Last time you volunteered for me to do it all until midnight. So tonight it's both of us. So if you have questions along the way, at some point when we have staff and all that, they can be throwing it to us. In the meantime, Amy's going to catch some, and we'll try and get y'all caught up for any little details, any questions that you might have thereafter.
Yes.
So with that, we ready to roll?
Tell them what we're making tonight.
Yeah, tonight's more of an Asian theme, but we're kind of sticking with that same approach of what can you make on a weeknight that's quick and easy, and you're going to have almost all the ingredients in your house. And if you don't have them in your house right now, they're ingredients that are easy to pick up, that are either shelf stable or hold in your refrigerator for a long time, and it makes for just something simple. And it's also, much like last week, items that we can substitute. If you don't have one thing, because I know some of y'all out there are like Amy used to be, which is you had everything in the entire, there were 24 items in the recipe. You had 23 of them, but it said that you needed freshly cracked black pepper, and you only had the already cracked black pepper, and you're like, Domino's. Guilty or not?
Okay, yeah, because I have to I want to follow the items to a T. But Garth has taught me that we can, we can still make it absolutely delicious and not have every single itty bitty item. So
we'll go over some substitutions tonight for the Asian style. Like last time, we're doing a little first, either it could be a starter course, could be a side item. This one's going to be some shrimp lettuce wraps. Super easy, fresh veggies make it crunchy, healthy, and delicious. And this is just going to be a little kickoff. We're going to turn that into easy fried rice. It would take me longer to read the ingredients than it would for y'all to make it. And it's stuff that is just awesome with leftovers too.
Yes,
so it is like a catch-all for almost
Garth's
everything.
fried rice, y'all. And we'll post the recipe too. So if you're not going to take notes, you just want to watch, don't worry about it. I did post last week's recipes today. And so they're on Facebook on the notes. This is so good. You're gonna love it.
Heating up our pan. We want to make sure the pan's hot first. Then we add the oil. We want to make sure the oil's hot. And now when we put the shrimp in that I've diced, this is an Argentinian red shrimp. If you followed our show and come to our dinners, you know how much I love it. It could be substituted with Gulf shrimp. As y'all know, I'm usually a bigger fan of all things Gulf of Mexico. But in this situation, these are super forgiving, meaning that you can under or overcook them and they'll still taste great and the texture will still be fine. And, oh goodness, $10, $11 a pound when I was seeing a lot of the Gulf shrimp that was, right now is previously frozen anyway, that was 18 to 24. And hey, if we're mixing it all up, might as well go with the stuff that's plump, juicy, has a texture almost like lobster, and it's half the price of a lot of the shrimp.
But if they can't get that, they can just use regular shrimp.
Find whatever shrimp you want to find. As far as sourcing, that Argentinian red is going to be here in Dallas Central Market. It's ordered. You can order it online. If you're down in pretty much anywhere south of Dallas where there's an HEB, they also carry them as well. So we're going to get a nice little sear on those.
What kind of oil did you use?
Any sort of high smoke point oil. So could be corn oil, vegetable, canola. I grab these little squirt bottles. You get them from a restaurant supply. If you don't care what your kitchen looks like, you get the little ketchup containers. from the grocery store, but they're real convenient to put out exactly as much oil as you want. So while that's cooking, I'm gonna get my veggies ready. So y'all have probably, many of you, seen me do this before. The red bell pepper, cut the bottom off, we'll still use that. And then to get it without all the seeds, I cut down. Then I hold the knife parallel with the cutting board, and we just unroll the pepper. You're left with that, and then we don't have a bunch of seeds on the inside. And we're gonna cut this into strips. So these are gonna provide a little crunch, some obviously good nutrition. Okay, we can turn the heat
I
up.
kind of feel like we're at a hibachi with the shrimp going.
True that. And if you've got a griddle, we had some questions about that from a now former neighbor of ours. You could certainly do this on the griddle instead. I just turned down the heat some because our shrimp are almost cooked. We could do these vegetables early and let them sit even overnight. I could do the whole yellow squash or zucchini, and this is actually in season right now, but I'm going to save what's left to use for some other dishes. So put that in. Also, zucchini, fresh Texas right now. I'm cutting the outside so I don't get all the seeds where that gets kind of mushy, even if you're not cooking it. And in this case, we're not cooking it. We're just going to marinate it. Or right now, we're just going to toss it. So you can make your own. We're talking about quick, simple meals, so we're not making our own. Use my ploy. It's a sweet chili garlic sauce.
It's called what?
It's called My Ploy. It's M-A-E-P-L-O-Y.
My ploy.
It goes My Ploy to teach you some cooking today. It's usually you that has the cheesy
He's here all
joke,
night,
baby.
folks. He's here all night.
All right, so we're going to toss that around.
The veggies? They're just gonna be raw.
Yeah, it's going to provide some crunch inside of our little tacos.
Okay. And for some who just got in, we're
doing
making
shrimp lettuce wraps, little Asian
Shrimp
style, quick and simple. We've got our shrimp that I cut into about 1/2-inch pieces, and then we've got some diced water chestnuts for a little bit more crunch.
Did you already dice that?
I diced it before they even put it in the can.
Oh, I gotcha.
You can buy sliced or diced.
Okay.
Okay, we've turned the heat down. I'm not making this like a real heavy soy dish, but I am going to use soy instead of salt because it's going to add some flavor, a little Asian style. And as that kind of steams in, we're going to get some delicious seasoning and flavor from it.
It's smelling hibachi.
Good. If you are gluten-free, which tonight's whole meal can be, or actually is gluten-free, you can get gluten-free tamari, and we'll talk about T-A-M-A-R-I. We'll talk about sourcing some of this stuff here in a little bit. So we just turn that on low. I've got my veggies ready. Last thing I'm going to do is a quick sauce.
Raw veggies, shrimp with oil and tamari. The
And
veggies
water
have got
chestnut?
and water chestnuts, and then the raw veggies, which were squash, zucchini, and red bell pepper mixed with a little my ploy. That's it. They weren't even cooked.
And my plate is not something you have to get from a special place, like Asian
You get
food.
that at the
store.
grocery store,
We get that
right?
at the grocery store. Okay, so if you want a quick aioli, which is like, fancy mayonnaise doctored up with like garlic, lemon, other seasoning, one of my favorite things to have on hand is this chili garlic sauce, also available at regular grocery stores. It's got the heat, it's got the garlic, it's got the salt. So we just put that in with our mayonnaise.
This makes it so easy.
And I do these as simple sauces all the time. And then to add acidity instead of lemon juice, we'll just put in half a lime. Stirring that up.
So that's what we've been eating all this time.
Did you not pay attention when
Nope.
I was making our
I like
sauce?
to come to class so I can learn.
But let's talk about what you could be doing at home. You don't have that? If you have some fresh garlic, use that. And some Tabasco. That's totally fine.
So mayonnaise, Tabasco, and fresh garlic would be
And a
enough.
little squeeze of lemon or a squeeze of lime. All those are going to be really good substitutes to make something
And that just sounds like something that you've already got in the fridge.
quick, simple, and easy. All right. So let's get this rolling with the plate up.
So this is the appetizer, or it could be part of the entree.
You can make it as part of like a whole meal, or
I'll take it.
It could just be that
Cleanup crew over here.
starter course.
Yes, because we like little appetizers with happy hour.
We do. And happy hour, if you don't know, is not as much about us as it is about our chickens. That Amy sets out containers of food and water for them to feast as they free range
I make a buffet for
the last couple hours of
the day. Which we'll probably be able to catch it tonight since it's not raining. We had so much rain yesterday. Oh my gosh, I thought the poor babies were going to float away.
Okay.
So you got the butter lettuce.
So I got some butter lettuce. This is Texas grown, hydroponic. What I would tell you is follow the wave of the lettuce. I think everybody tries to put it only in the center where the pretty green part's facing up. But if I've got a piece like this that's just naturally curling upwards.
It's just like a wild hair on my head.
That's good. or my beard.
Oh, we know.
I know, that thing is going to come to an end soon. All right, if we're going fancy style, then the eye is...
It's like my wild gray hairs.
Well, you don't have gray hairs.
Oh, I
baby.
do. They're hidden. I controlled them.
Your eyes are most kind of enthralled or attracted to odd numbers rather than even. So we'll either do 3 or 5 of these. So put my lettuce out.
That looks delicious.
We've got
I'm
our shrimp
excited about
mixture.
this. It's going to be tasty. And I need to get a good picture of that before we eat, so let's not forget. Because
You mean I need to stop you from eating it
yes.
before you take a picture?
Just remind me before I
Check.
Yes. Is everybody hungry? I wish y'all were all sitting around this island right now. We were just passing out yummies.
Because we have a second sink over here where you could be washing dishes between courses and then we wouldn't have
Could
to.
work for your food.
Okay, so we've got each of those in.
And I think, you know what, kids would like this too, grandkids. This is a good, I think, kid-friendly meal.
Yeah, maybe cut the veggies up even smaller.
Yes.
Trick them a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, and I dice the shrimp because I can't stand it when I get like a shrimp taco or something else. I'm trying to get bite-sized pieces and you've got some giant piece of shrimp that it's just hard to eat. So this is friendly for, you can make like little mini ones, use only the center leaves of the lettuce, a small amount of shrimp mixture, dice the veggies, and that could be a fun little appetizer, little starter course.
That's a good idea.
Hors d'oeuvre. All right, so that's all of these.
Yum. I'm sure you're going to put some microgreens on that.
Oh, here we go. I'm sure you're going to add a little side of sarcasm to that, baby.
I wasn't being sarcastic. I really was sure you were going to put microgreens on that.
Okay,
But first, that yummy aioli. Yes.
Okay, so this was that Thai chili garlic sauce, mayonnaise, and a little bit of lime juice.
You snip the end of the baggie.
Yeah, use a quart size heavy duty. And if you get a little bit of the garlic or the chili in there, you need to kind of pop that out.
Don't
Because if
squeeze
you
it
keep
hard.
squeezing,
It's going to go up on that ceiling.
and someone here has done that.
Have I?
All right, you can buy these. Some restaurant supplies. Some high-end grocery stores have it. All the Asian food stores have it. They're already toasted sesame seeds.
That's
Huge
brilliant.
difference.
That's brilliant. Then you don't have to go toasting your seeds.
And toast them for sure. There's a very big flavor difference between toasted versus not.
Yes.
And some Texas grown little sprouts.
It's so pretty. This is a great appetizer for Labor Day too.
Yeah, absolutely. We did burgers last time. That could be a fantastic entree, main course.
Yes.
And then you've got our little setup for some sweet, little savory, little spicy, creamy, crunchy. Add it all in there. I think we covered it all, right?
He did all the description in that. That's a really pretty presentation.
All the descriptions that I made, right?
Yes.
You got to decide.
Very pretty presentation and very healthy. Because Lord knows we might need to start shedding some Corona weight around here. So, hey.
I have not had a single Corona since the start of the whole thing. But
I haven't either.
Hey.
Does anybody understand what we're talking about over here? I'm sure you don't. No, thrown away. Just us over here.
Oh my goodness. We're trying to get it off. So these are some healthy options. Good weeknight meal. Again, this is the fried rice. So I'm going to start heating the pan. Key for fried rice is old rice. And you've probably seen it before. Yeah, the best thing you can do is take day-old rice, earlier in the day rice, a couple hour ago rice. Do not cook your rice and then start to do your fried rice. And the reason is that rice has a lot of starch on the outside. It's going to stick together. This 4-week-old rice, I'm just kidding.
What?
It's from yesterday. Super crumbly, not sticking together. We're going to put that to the side. And this is where there's a technique portion that comes in. And that is, how are we searing? What order are we searing to make sure that everything's fresh, that the texture's right, and that it's all ready in one dish at one time? Is somebody raising their hand?
Yes, I have a question. Can we go back to the rice? Are you saying that we need to cook that rice the day before we're ready to eat it?
You don't have to do the day before. At least do it. Do it a long enough time where it's going to cool down and not be starchy. And if you want a restaurant secret on that, like let's say you decided you're going to cook dinner tonight at 8 o'clock and you have all these ingredients and you're now like, I can't do the rice. Cook your rice. If you don't have time to let it sit for an hour or more, put it out on a sheet tray like we like, foil and parchment. Put it in your refrigerator for 15 to 20 minutes, and that'll be enough to cool it down where you're not going to have to wait overnight.
Or if you're like coming home and you're like, I forgot to make the rice, just swing by the Asian restaurant and grab a couple packages of, or...
It's usually hot there, though. Actually, what you'd be better off with is going to the grocery store. Now they have all those prefab convenient rices that are already cooked, and so then you can just take one of those. And because I'm not serving this as like rice pilaf. This is fried rice. It's gonna have a whole bunch of ingredients in it. Buy the little packet that's already cooked. That's basically the same thing. It's cooled off. It's separated grains, and it's ready to go.
Okay, I just had to ask because I just
Valid question. The thing that's good about putting in the refrigerator is not only does it cool down, but refrigeration normally dries foods. Except for some of the brands that I sell at the Gerald Company, that they actually add humidity into the refrigerator to preserve your food longer. This is the one time you want just some basic dried out stuff. And if you have questions about appliances from the Gerald Company, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. On the onion, this is a Little Bear onion. Amy will probably talk about the farm in a second. I cut off the one end after I cut it in half, and I put it on its side, and that's going to allow me with the stem here, I'll turn it as I'm doing this, to not quite cut through. So now I've got this side that was cut. It's been cut that direction. I'm going to do the same thing from here. And so now, when I go and cut across, I get a nice little dice.
We have several hands being raised, so we might have to address that when we get a little extra time.
We will in just a second.
I like the trick is keep finding or making yourself a flat surface. And the same goes with like potatoes and tomatoes, anything you're cutting that gets wobbly or uneven. I think that flat surface trick was one of the best tips I learned from you.
Awesome. Okay, so we've heated up the pan. Again, it's a French skillet. In this case, you could use non-stick. I'd prefer, if you're going to use non-stick, get one of those ceramic ones where it doesn't have all the chemicals in it, because we're cooking this on high heat. It's one thing if we were to fry an egg to put on the top of the fried rice or scramble it or whatnot, like Karen Parks called us out when we had made to-go fried rice that she had to scramble her own egg to put into it. Thankfully, she's a big supporter, so I'm not knocking her. But yes, fried rice normally has scrambled egg. We are just not scrambled egg fans. So we could add it at the end.
No scrambled eggs.
But because here we're cooking on high heat, I don't want to use a Teflon or other chemical coated surface. So an iron skillet, or you can use like the green pan or the scan pan. And I'm going to take, this is an interesting approach. This is why leftovers are fantastic for fried rice.
Just clean out your fridge and put everything in your rice.
So we had some brisket from the other night from a little gathering when a couple people turned a year older, and we had some leftover brisket. I just diced it up. I'm gonna put that in. What you're gonna see is that if you haven't had brisket leftover before, which most people aren't gonna have brisket leftovers, they eat it all. If you haven't had it leftover before, it sears and caramelizes really well and gets crunchy on the outside. So it's almost like
good.
It's like I think of it as like a halfway between a juicy steak and like really good beef jerky.
Crunchy, it's like the burnt ends that you get if you request at the barbecue shop. If y'all are ordered burnt ends, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's like crunchy and tender in the middle, and so we kind of just make our own burnt ends with the leftover brisket here. So you cubed it.
Yeah, cut and cubed. Did the same thing for the onion, and that's where I'm thinking out the timing. I'm not going to be able to overcook the brisket because at this point it's fully cooked. I'm browning it and crisping it up. I want to soften the onions. That's happening on its own. What are things that can overcook? Garlic. Don't put that in early or you are going to have a burnt garlic fried rice. So we want to get this cooked before we have the garlic. So this will be a late arrival. Another late arrival will be the carrots. And I'll show you how we're going to cut these in a second. But these can overcook and get mushy. Here's one that won't be overcooked. I can put it in whenever I want if I want it crunchy. I can put it in early if I want it caramelized. It's a poblano. Again, what are we doing for substitutions? Jalapeno would be fine. Any pepper that you have, you don't have anything like that, just put in some extra hot sauce at the end. So I'm gonna actually open this up very similar to the way I did the red bell pepper.
This is like a Texas fried rice.
Totally, and in fact, if this were 2 or 3 months ago where the sweet corn was really in season, we'd be getting a bunch of fresh sweet corn here as well. All right, so this poblano, I like poblano because I can put in quite a bit. It'll add some good flavor, but it's not too spicy for a lot of people. If you don't like the little crunch of the poblano, we can put it in right when we put in the onion and the brisket. I like it somewhere in between, where we've got a little caramelization. We also have a little bit of crunch.
Ooh, you can smell that pepper.
From the smoke, yeah. Okay. Carrots, fresh carrots. I love these because you can hold on to the end. It's a good holding place to keep the carrot from moving. They look really pretty. We will cut off the creepy finger ends. And as long as it's small in diameter, like this, probably 1/4 of an inch, I'll just go through and cut these across. Don't want to go this route, don't have to peel the carrot, buy some baby carrots. They'll be totally fine.
Yeah, okay. I love buying just the shredded carrots, the bag of shredded carrots, and just throwing them up. Did you hit your head?
No.
Almost. Throw the shredded carrots in there, or just barely cut them in half. You know, you can get them out of the baggie and just chop them a little bit.
Yeah, the matchsticks will be,
so
they'll make you look like a superstar.
Yes.
As far as a perfect fine dice. Okay, once we get to the thicker part of the carrot, check this out. I'm not going to cut it all the way through to the top, but I am going to cut a halfway point. And so what does this mean? It kind of separates out like that.
Yes.
And so now I get little half moons. So my size is about the same as the end. And if you only have larger carrots, like 1/2 inch or thicker, but you want them small, again, don't cut all the way to the top because then the whole carrot will fall in half. Instead, I'll cut it halfway.
Uh-huh.
Baby's got the math going on tonight.
You know what I'm thinking? Buy those matchstick carrots.
If you don't, you can separate them like this and go across.
Carrots.
So actually, you know what? I was going to do the matchstick. In fact, we had talked about that was the plan. And when I picked up some of the ingredients at Central Market, they didn't have matchstick carrots. So that's why y'all got that little extra cooking tip that you weren't even expecting.
That's okay. It is good to see that. That's a great idea. Cut it down. That would have taken me at least 5 minutes to do all that.
Oh, well, let's think about what would happen during that 5 minutes as I take a sip of wine and you ask a question.
I do have a question. I'm going to go back real fast. We're going to hit a couple of these questions. If I missed you, we'll go back. Or Garth will answer tonight at midnight. What kind of rice? What kind of rice?
It's really up to you. A hearty rice. I like basmati for so many things. And here's the cool thing. You want to make your own, then the basmati rice, instead of all water or chicken stock, substitute half of it with the thinner liquid in the coconut milk can. It'll add a lot of flavor. So I use basmati a lot. You could use long grain, white rice, you name it. We also do this sometimes with what's called black rice or forbidden rice or the emperor's rice. Real nutty. We could do it with wild. As long as it's cooked and cooled, use whatever you want.
Let's see. MD said the fatty, savory, charred ends are the best. We totally agree with you. That's our favorite for sure.
And if you don't like the fatty part, by us cooking this down again, we're rendering a bunch of the fat out. So you're not going to bite into a piece of fat, but we're actually putting that flavor of the meat all the way through.
And this is making people nervous.
So again, if you come to the Gerald Company and purchase appliances from me, we will show you what hoods not to get. And that one right there. So next time you turn on and it's got like the kid-proof pad, and there's a big piece of styrofoam or like some like insulation. That's the reason. Okay, let's get back to the timing side. I've got a bowl ready to dump all these ingredients into so that they don't continue to cook or burn. It's going to give me the pan back to start cooking the rice, and then we can assemble it all at just the right time. But before I do it, I am going to cook my garlic. I just want to have a landing spot ready for the garlic, because once it starts to really smell, we want to get it out of the pan as quickly as possible.
Why?
It'll start burning. So just taking the pan off of the heat is not going to stop the garlic from cooking.
Well, what if you were to turn your heat down?
Pan's still hot, food in it's still hot, and the burner's still hot.
Yeah.
And we're going to use this pan to cook the rice, to reheat it, and then to add all of the flavor. And those are like the liquid ingredients, and that's what really makes the difference. You can mix up whatever you want here. You don't have to do onion. I hate to say garlic powder. You could do garlic powder later in the game. You could put bacon in here, one of my favorites. If you had some shredded chicken, oh, are we allowed to talk about eating chicken? Probably not. You could have some shredded chicken, leftovers, or no meat at all. Make it vegetarian.
And someone said that, April said to cut a pool noodle has a bumper on your hood. That's a great idea.
That's kind of what I could see. Totally. That is totally true. Okay.
Do y'all think this is pretty easy? You think it's pretty quick and easy? I mean, when you're watching somebody, you're like, yeah, I can do that. And
I
then
haven't gotten to the end yet either, but
I know, but you know, I start analyzing things like that about halfway through someone's recipe. I start wondering if I can do that.
by someone she means mine. Garth, I don't think that you should do that recipe for tonight. I think it's too, and then she names it. So.
Well, I just want things that are really easy because time is important for all of us, and I want easy, but I want delicious.
I'll agree with
So
that.
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sure y'all are too.
All
Okay,
right.
so what's next? We just do the rice and then.
Yeah, we're gonna get ready with all the liquid stuff. Now I'm gonna go over this in a second. For right now, I'm still using the high smoke point oil.
So say what kind that would be.
Canola, vegetable, grapeseed, avocado. I mean,
So high smoke point would also be high fat.
those are all going to be the same fat.
Okay.
Some of them are healthier. So like avocado oil is going to have a lot
Sure.
more health benefits, but that's a lot of money. So grapeseed to me is kind of like the middle of the road, easy one to do. Okay, so we're going to put our rice in. Again, we heated our pan, we heated our oil. We're going to put in our rice. And this is where, at first, I'm going to move this around a little bit. I'm going to get oil on the rice. Okay, not my selection.
No, it's my selection. That's a cute spatula.
That's what I was looking
Because
for.
when you cook with cute things, you feel like you're making pretty food.
Well, then that must mean I'm making really pretty food.
Oh, that was good.
That was unrehearsed, but that should give me
That was really good.
should give me some bonus points for when I get in trouble later. All right, so now I'm not moving anymore. Now I want to create this caramelization on the bottom. A lot of different names for it, different types of cuisines to talk about it. At the end of the day, we want to get some crunchy rice at the bottom. It's going to develop flavor. So I'm not putting my liquid ingredients in yet or the vegetables and meat yet because I want to get a little browning at the bottom. But I'm going to get ready for it.
Okay.
How am I getting ready for it? Let's move this stuff out of the way so y'all can see. I'm going to get my ginger ready. So, talked about this. come to any of our events, this is the easiest way to handle ginger. And that is, there's no way for us to peel all the way through this. It'd be impossible to try and like chop it or anything like that. So instead, we washed it earlier, skin on, putting it through the grater.
This is a great trick. I would have never thought of this on my own. Did you think of this on your own?
I think I thought of it on my own. I don't remember how I was thinking about it when I thought about it on my own, but there's a very good chance that I thought
You're
about
so
it on my own.
smart.
Let's take a peek. So we're starting to see some crunchies.
No.
Not a lot yet, so we're going to leave
Let
those.
me turn the heat up.
Let's do one notch.
One notch.
And this is proof that you can cook on anything. If we can cook for 75 people on a 4-burner electric cooktop, you can make any of these dishes easily on your own. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take that ginger that I grated and squeeze it. And if you can't see, what I can tell you right now is about a teaspoon of ginger juice just dripped down. And I'm going to start getting ready with all of my stuff right now because I know
So good.
once the liquid starts hitting the pan, I'm going to get some quick burning or caramelization or crunchiness. So what's that going to be? For this, I like to use low sodium tamari. I don't normally cook low sodium anything, but because it has so much salt in it, it means we can add more of it. So now we can get more flavor. Okay, you're going to start hearing that caramelization. That's going to be the water boiling out, so it's evaporating. But once the water evaporates, a lot of these natural sugars are going to start to cause this caramelization, it's burning. Some what's this here sauce. Again, this is kind of Texas style. We talk about Texas style. One of my favorite hot sauces for years, Texas Pete's hot sauce, until about 5 years ago, I promoted how great it was as a Texas ingredient. And it's from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as I was told in front of a group of about 100 folks while I talked about how great it was from Texas. But I recently took a picture at a local grocery store where it said, buy local Texas product. This is Winston-Salem, California, North Carolina, but it's still good stuff. Okay, little rice wine vinegar. This is going to get some acidity.
Oh,
Got the flavor, starting to smell it.
man.
Oh, now let's look at that.
Here it comes.
So this is all like
so
crunchy, caramelized, crispy rice that we've got going on the bottom. That adds this huge depth of flavor. So now I'm going to start stirring. I'll continue to get a little more caramelization as I go. But this is that final assembly, really.
So you just put basically a bunch of liquid in this rice to give it all that flavor.
It's going to add a bunch of the flavor, and it's going to boost the sugar content, the starch content that causes that caramelization on the bottom. And now we get ready for all the final stuff. So sesame oil tends to burn at high temp, so I add it late. A little bit goes a long ways.
So good.
I'm going to go ahead and add the meats and the veggies back in.
Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. We could package this up and just do a little delivery, a little drive-by.
As long as at Karen Park's house there is egg in the drive-by. All right.
Probably everybody else. Do y'all prefer egg or you don't care? I am curious about that because normally when you get fried rice, there's always normally scrambled egg in it.
So we have here Sides Pea Farms. We love Virginia Sides. She would probably cringe that I'm putting these in raw, but they're kind of crunchy. If you can't get these lima beans from Virginia Sides, edamame works great. So you can buy that in the freezer section. You could use green peas, or you could leave it out altogether. It really
does add a lot of color.
Kind of a wash. That's a lot of color. So speaking of color, let's add some more color. So
And you feel like you're eating really healthy.
and you kind of are. I mean, use whatever rice you want. I'm chopping cilantro. This works great for like a Tex-Mex fried rice or Asian style. You want to make it a little more Asian. If you can find Thai basil, awesome.
If you can't,
You can use regular basil actually. It's really good in there as well.
okay, we've got some egg levers here. We got egg levers.
Well, that's the classic way. I guess I can't argue with y'all too much.
We love you anyway.
If you just want basic greens, you could find some either chives or green onion. Put some of these
And if
in.
you don't have all these greeny things
Or just
and
add
herbs
whatever
in your
you want.
fridge, just leave it out. It'll still be delicious, right?
Totally. Last
Oh,
couple of
gosh.
things will be a little bit of the fat to add to it.
Okay.
So this is from Vital Farms. It's their butter. Super rich, super delicious, Texas farm. We'll just squeeze a little bit off in there.
Oh, well, there you go.
This serves probably 4 to 6 people. And I put
We'll
maybe
have leftovers for a couple of nights, y'all.
maybe 1.5 tablespoons of butter. So we're not looking at a huge amount. I am making sure that fond or the caramelization down at the bottom isn't getting too terribly heavy. As the butter melts in, now I'm going to add one last little bit of fat. Again, you don't have to do it, but I really like the additional flavor here, and that is to take a little avocado.
Oh, avocado in fried rice is the most decadent thing to me. There was this place in town called Thai Tango, and they closed since then, and I still dream about this rice. It was fried rice, and it had jalapeno and cilantro and avocado and corn, and I don't even know what else. I still dream about, don't you hate it when a restaurant closes and your favorite dish was on that menu and you're like, no, please don't close.
You know what I hate is whenever I make fried rice, and you always tell me how much you wish you could still go to Thai Tango and get their fried rice. So how many of y'all feel for me? Like, you just finished cooking for somebody you love, they're like, that reminds me of a very similar but much better dish from a restaurant that we can't even get anymore. I'm like, yeah, but
This is a wonderful replica, I promise.
I'm not replicating. I never heard of it when I came up with this. It's not a replica. That's like copycat. That's like blasphemy for a chef. Oh my gosh.
This
is
is
a good
delicious.
replica.
I love this meal. Actually, your meal is actually healthier. It's healthier, and it makes me feel better about myself when I eat it, and it's delicious.
That's not what I normally go for. But thanks.
Help me out, y'all. Help me out.
All right, last thing I'm going to add so it doesn't get soggy are some cashews. And what's fun, I've found a lot of grocery stores now in the bulk section are doing cool different things. So these are hickory smoked cashews. Could you substitute out something else? Anything. Put in some Texas pecans. Get some of those classic smoked almonds you've probably had many times before. Now it's stirred in. By cooking it a little bit with the cilantro and green onion, it actually helped add color because it got brighter. Oh, I thought you were getting me a spoon.
No, I'm getting you a napkin to wipe your hands.
Oh. So I'm not supposed to use my beard?
No, that would not be good.
Okay.
I
So
think
brighten it up.
The theme with the hickory smoked nuts and the brisket. Oh, I'm seeing you really are taking this all the way to the Texas top.
Well, I'm trying not to compete against the Thai restaurant that you love so much.
Pretty turd.
Okay.
Yeah, I love your Texas fried rice the most.
That's how much you
Hey,
have.
jalapeno would be good in there.
That's what I said instead of a poblano.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Okay, if this isn't a weeknight, and you want to make it a little more fancy, here's a fun way to do it. And especially because a lot of people like fried rice that has like sweet, salty, and savory, kind of like we had here. Here's a cool way to do it.
Are we gonna plate this? Oh,
Are we gonna plate this?
how many people this feed? Kathy wants to know.
Easily 4 to 6.
Easily 4 to 6.
So
I would agree. Oh,
I-
that's cute.
I took a pineapple. I figured this is the part where I was finally going to beat Thai Tango or whatever other restaurant she's crazy about. So,
Honey, I
cut-
love you.
I love you, baby.
Okay, that is cute. I am gonna take a picture of that right away. That is so cute. Is that my nose?
No, nothing happened. There's nothing to see or smell.
Did you burn my perfect little thing? I think it's gonna be okay.
All right, so we've got pineapple cut in half. This way you can pick out as much sweetness as you want or no sweetness. Just scoop it out of the center.
That is cute, baby. What a cute idea for Labor Day. Like,
Labor Day.
bye summer.
A little Labor Day luau sort of
But
thing.
yeah, right by summer, we won't miss your 114 degree temperature.
Gosh.
Oh, that is adorable, honey. I'm really impressed.
And we've had some people talking about wine
Yes.
with these meals. I think it was me. So we're gonna bring to
Anybody
y'all
else
like
love wine?
some wines, like what we're talking about pairing. So we've got spicy, sweet, salty. There's a whole bunch going on that's really difficult to pair with wine. Rosés do great. It's not. This isn't the sweet. We'll call it girl wine, but this isn't the sweet stuff you started off in college. This is actually from an awesome vineyard, Heights Cellar winery. We love their Cabernets. They're super pricey, but this rosé comes in maybe not for a normal weeknight meal at a little under $20, but something kind of fun and special. So it's going to balance well with all these flavors we have going on here, all the flavors we have going on in our shrimp wraps, and all the wine desire we have in our bellies. So
Somebody said, what about a vodka martini?
vodka goes well with pretty much anything. It's so neutral, so depends on what flavor you're putting into it. If you're talking about a martini, it depends on how dirty it is, because the salt, if you did a dirty martini combined with this much salt, might be a little too much, or it might just be what you need. So I've got, because I'm trying to pour it even, and her glass a little smaller, I might say, well, there's your little tasting.
Thanks.
And people were asking about my glass last time.
It says Merry Christmas.
That's why I put it to the back side.
We're getting ready already.
No one else is seeing it. So Heights Cellars, their rosé, the fried rice, the pineapple, the lettuce wraps, and honestly,
Hey.
half an hour?
You've
And I
done
don't think
good.
I really cooked much of anything ahead of time. So
You've done good. And I love your little love boats. Those are really cute.
my
Can
love
we-
boats.
Can we call those love boats? I think we should call them love boats.
By the time I finish this glass of wine,
Texas fried
you
love
can
boats.
call them or me or anything, whatever you want.
Texas fried love boats. I love that name. That's so cute.
Between the name and your fancy spatula, I think we've got the cuteness factor.
You did really good, baby. Okay, let me check real quick. See if there's
Thank you
any
for
more.
keeping us in line.
See if there's any more questions. She said, love the presentation. It all looks yummy. Somebody said Andrea said that's my kind of glass of wine.
Yes, Andrea, go.
So we're gonna, I will post these recipes on our Facebook page. I posted last week's recipe. So if you go back on our Facebook page here, there's a little tab on the left. You'll see like all these options you can click on, and one of them says notes, and I put it in notes. You'll see we've got some other recipes in there as well.
If that sounds ridiculously confusing because I have no idea what she's talking about, just post in the comments you're having trouble finding it, and Amy will post you a link no matter how late at night it is that you send that in.
Hey, we thank y'all for watching with us and hanging out with
fun.
us in the kitchen. This
We've
is
enjoyed
really
it.
fun. We enjoy it. And what's really going to help us a lot is y'all sharing this. So as you know, just as I ask you, please every time, please share this. Share it with your friends. Let's share Texas love with the whole nation. How's that sound?
And kudos to y'all that have. We've got a lot of great close designer and builder friends who've been very supportive, a lot of whom I work with at the Gerald Company where I sell appliances for houses.
But we also just have a lot of good friends and family.
And then we've got the friends and family and the friends who feel like family. So
Yes.
we can't thank y'all enough for all your support and for giving us an opportunity to have fun, cook some food, and drink some wine.
We'll be back next week, Wednesday, this time, 6:30. Lord willing, we'll be here again for part 3 of 4. And we don't know what we're cooking, but it'll be fun, we promise. So y'all come back now, you hear?
What button do I hit, baby?
At the bottom it says finish. Night night.
Bye, y'all.